The Amazing Story of Roger Woodward. Saturday afternoon, July 9th, 1960. A man by the name of Jim Honeycutt from Niagara Falls, New York, took two of his co-workers' children, Diane 17 and Roger Woodward 7, for a boat ride in the upper Niagara River. The boat developed motor trouble, capsized into the river, and all three were thrown into the upper rapids. Hundreds stood at the falls, almost paralyzed with concern for the three helpless in the river. As Diana swept closer and closer to the brink, near the shoreline, two men, unknown to each other, jumped at the opportunity. John R. Hayes climbed over the rail, stretched out his arm, and pleaded with Diane. She caught his hand just before going over the falls, roughly 20 feet in fact. John, being fearful of the strong current that would break his hold, he shouted for help. Climbing over the rail, John Quattrochi came to the rescue, and the two of them pulled the frightened teenager to safety. Once on land, Diane's concern turned for her brother. Luckily, one of the Maid of the Mist boats, making its turn below the falls, when one of the crew hens spotted the orange life jacket. The veteran captain, Clifford Keach, maneuvered the boat so that the crew could rescue the boy safely. After two unsuccessful attempts, a life preserver landed within reach of the crying youngster. Lifted safely on board, Roger mumbled his concern for his sister. Within an hour, word spread of the miracle of a young boy with only a life vest. Roger was rushed to a general hospital in Niagara Falls, Ontario, where he remained for 3 days with a slight concussion. The body of the man who had taken them on the boat ride, Jim Honeycutt, was freed from the depths of the Niagara River 4 days later. We know that water is essential to sustain life. We also know that from the story of Roger Woodward, that water put into motion can be very powerful. We're here today to talk about Niagara Falls. Luckily for me, I've had a chance to attend Niagara Falls 6 times, and in doing this research, my appreciation has grown greatly. Well, Niagara Falls has thousands of people yearly that attend its location to learn about its height, its water flow, its erosion rates, and also to learn about the daredevils. Well, let's talk about some of those. According to the World Book of Encyclopedia, in 2008, the American Falls is 176 feet high, 1,000 feet wide, and erodes at a rate of 1 inch per year on average. Where the Horseshoe Falls, Canadian Falls, is 167 feet high, 2,600 feet wide, and erodes at a rate of 3 inches to 6 feet per year. According to the Niagara State Park's website, the American Falls has a water volume per second of 75,000 gallons. Horseshoe Falls per second has a water flow rate of nearly 681,000 gallons per second. Also, according to the World Book Encyclopedia 2008, there have been 2 major mass rock slides that have occurred. On the American side, American Falls, in 1931, 80,000 tons of rock fell. And several years later, 30,000 tons of rock fell from the Horseshoe Falls. And in 1954, there was nearly 185,000 tons of rock fell from the American Falls as well. Now, the raw power and ruthlessness of this river has led to many people to flock to it. They are known as daredevils. The first recorded is Ann Edson Taylor in 1901. She is a 63-year-old retired school teacher from Bay City, Michigan, that was also a widow. She was followed by Bobby Leach in 1911, followed then by Charles Stevens, 1920, who was the first to die from going over the falls. Gene Leisure in 1928, George Stathakis and his turtle, Sonny Boy, in 1930. Now, unfortunately, George and his turtle got stuck behind the curtain of the waterfall of the Horseshoe Falls for 18 hours. George did not survive, but Sonny the turtle did. William Red Hill Jr. in 1951 went over the falls, and his contraption, made of inner tubes, did not survive the falls. This led to a public outcry of stunting at Niagara Falls to be illegal. This has not stopped many daredevils from attempting going over the falls. The occurrences in years that have occurred is 1961, 1984, 2 accounts in 1985, one account in 1988, 1990, 1993, 2 accounts again in 1995, and the last one recorded was 2003. Well, to wrap things up, it is no wonder that thousands attract to Niagara Falls yearly. You have the immense volume of water, these sheer heights, and the history of daredevils. Well, my final thoughts is as you step away from your busy life, I hope that you're able to get out and enjoy nature, that you're able to go and learn about the vast wonders and appreciation for nature itself. We know that nature can be soft as a lamb or be as ferocious as a dragon. It's all a matter of what type of respect you give to nature. Thank you. Cameron Scher.